I can tell this Viking situation with JJ McCarthy is going to drag on for at least another year, maybe another year on top of that, going into 2027. And when I say the JJ McCarthy situation, I'm talking about the civil war that is within Vikings Twitter. I've noticed some things, and because I go on Twitter sometimes and I'll post some things and then get the hell out of Dodge because the internet is the internet, and that's a whole different topic for another day. But this civil war within Vikings fandom is crazy when it comes to this guy. And I'm talking about the JJ McCarthy stands versus everybody else. Not to say that everybody else don't not to say that everyone else does not believe in McCarthy. It's just they're seeing things and they're making observations and they're just calling it like it is. And I want to expand on something that I talked about the last video where I said JJ McCarthy stands, you can't have it both ways. And I failed to really complete that thought. So I'm going to do it now. You can't have it both ways. And when I say that, I'm talking about for the JJ McCarthy stands. Whenever he has a good game, a decent game, especially if it leads to the win, the JJ McCarthy stands, you guys are relentless in the shoving it in everybody else's faces. See, I told you, we told you, you haters need to shut your mouths. What do you have to say now? And then the very next game where he has a game similar to this past Sunday game against the Chicago Bears, Bears Part 2 at US Bank Stadium, when he has a poor performance like that, and then everyone else, the other side is like, all right, but what's going on here? That was a poor performance. He needs to work on this, and just looked really, really bad out there. If he had a better game, they probably could have won that game overall. And when those objective observations are made and put out there into the Twitterverse, the JJ McCarthy stands then turn around and try to coddle this dude and say, he's only played his fifth game. Give him more time. So you want to give him all the praise when the Vikings win with McCarthy at quarterback, but when they lose with McCarthy at quarterback, it's not his fault. Give him all the praise when they win. Give everybody else the blame when they lose. Or even if they recognize that in losses, McCarthy had a bad performance, oh, it's okay. It's not nothing to raise hell about because he just needs more time. So how can you go to the extreme situation in wins and then dial it back and act like it's not a big deal when they lose? Just be consistent, man. This is crazy. And we're going to find out who he is eventually. And another thing, going the comparison route. Do you remember how Josh Allen started his career? Do you remember how Peyton Manning started his career? It was bad, but guess what? They turned into all pros, MVP, superstar careers. Okay, fine. But for every Josh Allen and for every Peyton Manning situation that you have where they come in and have a rough start to their career, for every Josh Allen and Peyton Manning that you have, there's 1,000 other Christian Ponders. There's thousands of other Trey Lances. Not to say I'm not declaring what JJ McCarthy is or is not going to be for his career. The fact is, we don't know, but the hypocrisy is downright hilarious. But the timeline for JJ McCarthy, here's what I believe is ultimately going to happen before a decision is made that he's the guy or he's just a bust. They are going to run through his rookie contract 2027. They're not going to pick up his fifth year option unless you see significant improvement in 2026. And even if you choose not to use the fifth year option to pick up his fifth year option, 2027, say he miraculously turns everything around. The thing is, you still have team control by exercising the franchise tag while you work out some sort of long-term contract extension. But the thing is, with the McCarthy stands arguing, hey, he needs time, and I tend to agree with you on that because you're not going to know who he is right out the gate. You're going to have that time. You're going to have, albeit as long as he can stay healthy, this season as well as the next 2 seasons. And by that point, we know who he is. There's no disputing it anymore. And the thing is, staying on the sake of time in that situation, you have given him every chance possible to be great. You've exhausted all resources for him to be a quality starter in this National Football League. Trey Lance versus Josh Allen. We're going to know the answer by then, one way or another. If he turns out to be a waste, everybody gets fired. If he turns out to be the guy, everybody can pop champagne, and not just JJ McCarthy getting an extension, but KOC and Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, they get extensions as well. Everybody is happy, and this franchise is moving and grooving. But if he turns out to be a waste, everybody gets fired, and you have to start over from scratch with a new regime and then try to find your next quarterback of the future and hope that it works out the next time. It's just, we don't know yet. I will give you that. This video is brought to you by Sleeper. Daily fantasy users, sign up for Sleeper, get a free $20 entry with no deposit required. If you do make a deposit, get a 100% match up to $100. Use the promo code Randy. Terms and conditions do apply. Check out Sleeper today. Some things that the Vikings brass leadership will have to consider while going through this JJ McCarthy project. 2 things. The roster turnover is going to be massive in the next 2 years, considering Brian O'Neill, he's really starting to slow down, may not be around for, say, McCarthy getting that extension in 2020 or after the 2027 season. And Justin Jefferson, he'll still be productive, no doubt, but while we're waiting to see what JJ McCarthy will ultimately be, you're going to burn an additional 2 years of Justin Jefferson's prime. He's going to be 28 years old at that point in 2027, or after 2027, rather. But man, 2 years of the best receiver in the game, trying to figure out the quarterback situation. That's 2 years you're going to use of Jefferson. So you got to weigh all options and consider everything that you're going to go through. Not that there's really anything that you can do about it. At this point, you are committed to JJ McCarthy. But everything that you've done leading up to this point to have technically a built to win roster, even though they have no shot of winning this year, everything that you've done to put together this roster, a lot of it is going to come undone once you finally have a decision on your quarterback from Michigan. So I wanted to do this video just to lay out what is more than likely the blueprint, the layout, the path of JJ McCarthy before they make a decision in efforts to just try to just end this civil war within Vikings Twitter. But I know it's not going to end because the internet is going to be the internet. But just the hypocrisy of he has a good game and the Vikings, they win a game because of JJ McCarthy. Oh my God. I told you. Y'all some bums. All y'all that been hating on this dude, that been hating on 9. What you got to say now? And then he follows that up with a piss poor game. And it's, oh, no. You can't make fun of him. You don't talk about him. Okay? He needs time. That's hypocritical as hell, man. That's all I'm saying. But albeit, I'm with you on the sake of time. Let's just be consistent in the fact that some games he's going to look really good and other games he's going to look bad. And it's okay to point out what we have seen with our very eyes instead of coming up with excuses when he does bad. At the same time, we don't need to label him a bust if he has a bad game. Let's keep it all equal. I know you're not going to keep it equal. I know most people aren't going to keep it equal. But I think that is what is ultimately going to happen before we know for sure if this is the quarterback of the future or not. We'll see you next time.